Hey, I'm Gary from Hydroponics in York Springs, Pennsylvania. Today we're going to do a quick little wrap up here of the FallPonics. I've done quite a few videos on this, but I think there's some subjects I haven't really hit, and I want to just clear some stuff up. So this is the FallPonic assembly and filling and how to plant into it and how to drain it and clean it video. I'm going to try to make this just quick. And when you're putting this thing together, pretty much you gotta lay your buckets out first where they're gonna go. Your reservoir bucket's easy, it's got a sticker on it, so that's gonna go outside of your tent. This system here is a right side system, so that's coming out the right side of the tent when you're standing looking at your tent. Your inside bucket here has the 3 big holes around it, so you know that's gonna go there. Then your other 3 buckets, the air lines are always towards the inside, so you can kind of get a good clue of where they are from that. The first thing you're going to do when you set it up is your white pipes on the inside. These fittings on these pipes, I thought this was simple, but I've had a few people mess this up. This has a big rubber ring right here, and that goes around a little lip on here. So you get that ready ahead of time. This ring will end up being on the outside of your buckets. And then this ring is your screw-in ring. That'll go inside the bucket. And I've had really good luck just snugging these up with my hands. I haven't really had any problems with these. They work great. If you do try to put this big ring on the outside of your, on the inside of your bucket, this will barely even try to get on, and it'll leak everywhere. So, yeah, this is the one thing where that goes on the outside. The caterpillars, this is the part that goes out your tent hole. If you're gonna run, this is a 4x4 tent, but if you're gonna run in a 5x5, there's actually a difference which way you set these caterpillars, or the hump piece. Some people call it the hump piece. So right now they're lined up, but if you flip them around, you'll notice one end is sticking out about 1.5 inches longer. So if you're in a 5x5 tent, you want to have the long end in your tent, and you can actually shift the whole system around within the tent hole and get this thing centered up in a 5x5. You only have to go 6 inches to get it centered. So that's something you want to remember when you're putting this together. If you are in a 4x4 for this particular system, it doesn't matter which way you have this, it'll work. So I just want to show you guys that. After you get your white pipes put together, then go get your waterfall tubing on the inside put together. This stuff, hot water is awesome. Put it in hot water. So steam in hot water for 5 minutes. It'll loosen all the plastic up. It's a vinyl tubing, and then it'll go in the fittings a lot easier. And then when it cools down, it'll contract and seal up better. It'll also allow you to run your tubing out the hole, because it'll be real flexible when you do that. The reservoir, we did change something in the reservoir. The water level kit on these now come with a 1-piece at the bottom here, instead of having a small piece of vinyl here connecting an elbow. It's a solid 1-piece just to help keep us from having leaks. This particular system has bricks under it, and that's because we have a bottom drain system in here that I did in a previous video. You can look that up. We're going to talk about that later when we get to the draining of the system, but for now I just wanted to explain why they're on bricks. The hump piece itself, I have it leaned over as far as it'll go in the tent hole, and that will allow it to run a little bit smoother. So try not to stand it straight up if you can. I know some brand tents have the hole at a different place, so if you can get that leaned over as far as you can, that's a good thing to keep this thing running good. We do include a few hose clamps. Sometimes the pump area could give you a little issue. Get it filled up and see if you have any problems. This here can be taken off and put on while it's still hooked up. You just put it around the hose and clamp it like that. And as for filling, when you go to fill it, we give printed instructions with these, but I know a lot of people don't read them because we've had calls about it. You're going to fill up your water to about the bottom of the hump here. Then you're going to turn this pump on. That'll get your waterfall going. And then after that, you can go top off to get your plants up. And we're going to do that right now, so you'll see it in action. All right. So the highest you can get your water is up to the airline holes, and you're going to need to get it really high in the beginning, because this is some of the starter plants that we started, and this has to be touching the water. So first we're going to just go ahead and fill this up. I have a cool little gadget here This is a little save-a-drop water meter here. The 8-gallon system usually mix it for about 25 to 30 gallons, but we're going to go ahead and measure it as we put it in and see what happens here. The save-a-drop meter is good, accurate within 1/10 of a gallon, so. You can fill the whole thing up from outside the tank too, so. Meanwhile, all right, so right now the water's about to the bottom of the hump. So we're gonna go ahead and turn on our waterfall. Outside bucket's getting pretty full too. So that's gonna suck down this reservoir and get our waterfalls going on in here. On our water meter, right now we're at about 28 gallons, is what it's saying. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the water off, let the waterfall go for a little while, see where we level off at here. We're gonna have the water get up really high up to about the water line. And your reservoir bucket's always gonna be lower. So the way this works is the water piles up inside on top of all the plant sites, and then the reservoir is lower, so it creates a force of weight, literally water weight, pushing down, and that's what forces the water over the hump. If you fill it like this, you won't have any air in your hump piece. So I've had customers call and they fill up the inside and outside all the way up and then turn it on and it locks it up, so it won't run. So that's something you need to take into account for when you're getting this going. Another thing I should mention is water temperature. I've had customers do that, like we're using a garden hose, but we have this hooked up to our utility sink. So the utility sink, I'm able to adjust the temperature of the water a little bit. So say you're in the middle of your grow and you drain your system and your water is 72 degrees or whatever, and then you go put 50-degree water in there, you're going to shock the hell out of your plants and you could actually kill them. So that's something else to remind you of when you're filling this thing up. All right, so our reservoir over here is getting pretty low. And it looks like this water has stopped rising, so we're going to go ahead and start adding some more water. So inside is where is really important for your water. Like you need to get that to the right level. The outside reservoir is not going to be the same level as the inside, so just focus on that because that's what you got to deal with. Rolling. All right, I'm gonna cut it off there. We're at our air lines right now, so I'm gonna go beyond that. We probably got some drips out of the airline holes. In the beginning, when you go plant, and by the way, the water meter here is saying 36.9 gallons, so give or take 1/10 per gallon. So that's it with it completely full on this. So I usually tell people mix for about 30 gallons. And you don't have to run it this high once the roots get going. Also, another thing I want to mention is the air stones. When I'm filling it up, I keep these running before I can put water in it. That keeps stuff from going into the stone. And when I change out also, I keep the air stones running. That way it's always trying to blow stuff out of the stone and it keeps them getting clogged up as quick. But but for this video I turned them off just because of the sound of the air pump. Alright. So you got your lid there. There's your water right there. And then we got some tomato plants here. I've actually started these tomato plants a couple times now. We had them really nice, and then we didn't get a chance to do the video. And then we went, and these were done in the greenhouse, so they got a little stretchy. We had a lot of, we had a 9-degree span too. So anyway, the bottom of it, it's got to touch the water in the very beginning. So we're gonna put that about there. And then we're gonna fill around with the clay rocks. And then once the plant roots get going really well, you can let your water level go down some. But yeah, that one is planted and ready. Keep your rocks filled up really high in these systems. That keeps any light from getting down through your net basket. Also keeps a little dry area up top, so the bugs don't like that. Keeps them away. And this is not the cracky method, where the cracky method is a way of growing when you don't use an air pump, which I don't like that at all myself. I have a lot of people ask me how big of a gap you need under your basket, and I'm like, this is deep water culture. Like, the plants are supposed to be completely in water. As long as the air pump is bubbling, they'll be totally fine. So, but usually, you know, once the roots blow out of your basket, you can let it go down to the middle of your basket or down towards the bottom of your basket. It won't matter, as long as you have your air pump always running. Alright, another thing I want to mention would be dampening off. So you have your stem here, and then where it originally met your starter plug, you don't want to have the water level above that, especially on certain plants. Tomato plants themselves, the roots will actually grow out of the stem, and that's fine, but like pepper plants in particular, if the water level meets where the pepper touches the starter plug down here, and the water level's there, you can get a rot on your stem. It's actually a fungal infection. They call it dampening off. So you want to be careful about that. Yeah. All right, I just popped the air on for a quick minute here just to show you. I try to position my air cylinders right underneath the basket so you get the bubbles come right up through the roots. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that back off so we don't have to hear the hum the whole video. Always run your air pump full blast 24/7. Don't ever turn it off. All right, now the draining of the system. Like I said, this bottom drain kit is totally optional. I wouldn't use it myself, really. When you order a FallPonic from us, it comes with this drain pump here. This is the Eco 264. It does 290 gallons per hour, so it'll drain this thing down in 10 to 15 minutes at the longest. Your plants can be out of water for over half an hour without a problem, because the roots are wet and they'll be fine. So you got time. This pump comes with a little bottom adapter here, so it'll suck the water all the way down to the bottom of the bucket. So you take the front cover off your pump, and you just simply screw this on here. You can take off this little legs too on the bottom if you wish. That slides off the front. And then you can just open up your little flap here, and you can drop your pump down in there and suck the water out. This little flap, I have in the instructions, like if this starts to get loose after opening it a zillion times, just put a little piece of electrical tape down here, or Gorilla Tape, and just snug these up, which is also in the instructions that people don't read very often. If you push this all the way down, it was hard to get off. You had to take a screwdriver and pry it off. So I just snug mine up, keeps the light out. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and drain this whole system. Keep your waterfall running while you're draining. And I have this running out the building to our front garden out front. And it's a great thing to do if you have a system at your house where you can pump this stuff to, even your grass in your yard. This stuff, the leftover nutrients will, your yard will like it, your flower beds will like it. Let's see here, 1/2-inch barb fitting. And this comes with 10 foot of drain line, so we're using much more than 10 feet because we're going all the way out the front door. So there, that's ready to drain. So open up your flap, stick that down the bottom, and plug her in, and it will suck it dry. Alright, so right now it's draining the system. Very simple, folks. Alright, this pump's starting to gurgle a little bit, so I got a little bit of water still running in here, so I'm gonna just give it another minute here. That pump, you never want to let it run dry. That's why this water level kit is on here, mainly just for that pump. You don't want to walk in your room and see it down to here, and it'll blow your pump out. So you can run pumps dry for a few minutes, it's not going to hurt anything. But if you let them run dry for an hour, they're gonna get messed up. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and unplug that. And the rest of the plants here. We're about done draining. This pump's starting to gurgle a little bit, so we know we're down at the bottom. There's about an inch of water in here. That's about as good as it's going to get on our normal drain system. What a lot of people will do is at this point go ahead and dump 5 or 10 gallons of plain water in your reservoir while the waterfall is going, and then that'll kind of help flush out the rest of it. And then you suck that out, and you can do that a couple times if you want to really help get the bottom of the stuff cleaned out during your grow. Cleaning this thing in general is another question we get a lot. The 8-gallon bucket version, these fit on my dishwasher racks at home, and we actually moved this whole system from the other side of the store, and I actually took this home and threw it in the dishwasher. Took a few hours. I had to do like 1 bucket at a time, and I put my white tubes in there. But in between grows, pretty much you want to get all the crud out of them. And when I say crud, I mean your nutrient salts that build up on the bottom. You're going to see them down in there, and you want to get that all cleaned out. When you go to harvest at the end, I recommend, if you want to get your plants harvested and hung up or whatever to start drying them, to just leave your water in here. Just leave it running until you're ready to clean it. Don't drain it out and let it sit, because once the mineral starts dry up, they get stuck to it, and then you got to really scrub to get them off. The old toilet scrubber here, these actually fit down the 3-inch pipes perfectly, and this is, I got that from like the dollar store for $1 or $2. But you can get in there and clean out your pipes. You can use regular dish soap to help clean out some of these salts. If during the grow you had any kind of bacteria issues, you're going to need to sterilize the system to make sure you don't transfer that bacteria to your next grow. So this is high strength hydrogen peroxide. It's 34%. We don't ship this as a hazmat, but if you got a store around you, go get this. This will kill the bacteria. Put a couple cups in here with water and let it cycle, and that'll help kill everything in it and sterilize it. Also great for cloning machines too, in between your cloning. Bio Green Clean, this is something we do sell on the website. This is something that was made in conjunction with the EPA. It's totally safe for plants, but it also cleans everything really nice. So you can put this on a sponge with like a scrubby sponge and get in there and scrub everything down, and it won't hurt your hands or anything. That's Bio Green Clean. That is on the website if you guys want something good to clean with. I think I covered a lot of the stuff that I wanted to cover. We've had a lot of questions about different things. I've had so many FallPonic videos out there that I kind of felt like I was beating a dead horse with this, but I wanted to do this one just to put the final end of these questions. And I do appreciate you all for watching. And I'm Gary from Hydroponics. Please subscribe if you haven't done that already. That keeps us going with some more videos, and I'll see you next time.